Hey there, I'm Sarah Thompson, a 28-year-old accountant from the suburbs of Chicago. I was sitting at my desk, crunching numbers like any other day when my phone rang. It was a real estate agent asking about the sale of my grandma's house. Confused, I thought, what? That house has been in our family for generations, and as far as I knew, it wasn't for sale. I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. That house isn't on the market, I told the agent, my heart racing. Ma'am, I have the paperwork right here with your signature. My signature? Now I knew something was seriously wrong. I thanked the agent and hung up, my mind spinning. Immediately I called my sister, Emma. Hey, Em, quick question. You haven't heard anything about Grandma's house being sold, have you? There was a pause on the other end, too long of a pause. Oh, that? Yeah, I was meaning to tell you about that. It's no big deal, really? No big deal? My blood started to boil. Emma had always been the golden child in the family, but this was crossing a line. How could she do something like this without even telling me? I couldn't sleep that night, my mind consumed with thoughts of Emma's betrayal. The next morning, I called Michael, my best friend, and filled him in on everything. This is serious, Sarah. We need to gather evidence, he said, his lawyer instincts kicking in. You're right, I'm going to start digging. Over the next few days, I became a detective. First stop, the lawyer's office where the sale documents were signed. I managed to charm the receptionist into showing me the security footage. Oh, honey, I remember that day, she said as we watched the tape. Your sister seemed off, kept looking over her shoulder. And there was Emma, nervously signing the papers, alone. Next, I tracked down the real estate agent who had called me. Yeah, something didn't sit right with me, he admitted. Your sister was pushy, wanted everything done fast. And when I asked about you, she got all cagey. Armed with this information, I decided to confront Emma at our weekly family dinner. As we sat down to eat, I couldn't hold back any longer. So, Emma, how's the house sale going? I asked casually, though my heart was pounding. The room fell silent. Emma's fork clattered onto her plate. What are you talking about? Mom asked, looking confused. Oh, didn't Emma tell you? She sold Grandma's house without my permission. Dad's eyes widened. Is this true, Emma? Emma's face turned crimson. Fine, yes, I sold it. But I had to. You forged my signature, I shouted. You don't understand. I needed the money. I've sacrificed so much for this family. Mom jumped in. Emma, honey, what do you mean? I've always put this family first. I turned down job offers to stay close to home. I've been helping with the bills. And what has Sarah done? Run off to her fancy job and boyfriend. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you kidding me? You've been stealing from Mom and Dad for years. Emma's face went pale. That's not true. Oh, really? Then explain the missing money from their accounts, the mysterious charges. Dad looked shocked. Emma, is this true? Emma burst into tears. You don't understand. I had debts. Uncle Frank said his investment was a sure thing. The truth came pouring out. Emma had been involved in Uncle Frank's shady schemes, losing thousands. She'd been stealing to cover her losses. And let's not forget how you sabotaged my job interviews, I added, the anger building inside me. What? I never. Cut the crap, Emma. I know you called and gave bad references. You couldn't stand the thought of me being successful, I said, my voice shaking with anger. The room erupted into chaos. Mom was crying, Dad looked shell-shocked, and Emma frantically tried to defend herself. You're blowing this out of proportion. I did what I had to do. Mom, Dad, you understand, right? To my disbelief, Mom nodded. Sarah, maybe you're being too harsh. Emma's clearly been struggling. I couldn't take it anymore. I stormed out, ignoring their calls for me to come back. Later that night, I sat with Michael, feeling completely drained. I can't believe they're still defending her, I said, fighting back tears. Michael squeezed my hand. We'll figure this out. I've got a buddy who's a handwriting expert. We'll prove the forgery. I nodded, a plan forming in my mind. And I'm going to talk to Uncle Frank. He might be shady, but he owes me the truth. That night, lying in bed, I felt a mix of sadness and determination. My family might have betrayed me, but I wasn't going to let Emma get away with this. Game on, sis, I whispered to myself. You have no idea what's coming. Emma had always been manipulative, but I never thought she'd go this far. It was time to beat her at her own game. The next day, I called her up, trying to sound casual. Hey, Em, can we talk? I've been thinking about everything and maybe I overreacted. Really? She replied, sounding suspicious. Yeah. I mean, family's family, right? Let's grab coffee and talk it out. Over the next few weeks, I played the role of the forgiving sister. It wasn't easy, but I had to gain her trust. Meanwhile, Michael was putting our plan into action. At a family barbecue, Michael casually approached Emma. I heard Uncle Frank's old cabin might be on the market. I've always liked that place. Emma's eyes lit up. Oh yeah, it's a great property. I could help you with that. That'd be awesome. Maybe we could discuss it privately sometime, Michael said, watching as Emma fell right into our trap. Uncle Frank, surprisingly, was in on it too. I'm sorry, kid, he told me when I confronted him. I never meant for it to go this far. I'll help you make it right. We set up a meeting between Emma and Uncle Frank, with Frank wearing a wire. So about that cabin deal, Emma said, not realizing she was being recorded. We could easily inflate the price. Sarah doesn't need to know the real value. What about your parents? Frank asked, fishing for more. Please, Emma scoffed. They're clueless. Dad's too passive to question anything, and Mom, well, she always takes my side. I felt sick listening to the recording later, but I knew we needed more. That's when I came up with the idea of the family heirloom. I casually mentioned to Emma that I'd found Grandma's old diamond necklace. It must be worth a fortune, I said, watching her eyes gleam. I'm keeping it in my desk drawer for now. A few days later, Mom called me in a panic. Sarah, I caught Emma going through your room. She said she was looking for an old photo, but she seemed so nervous. Everything was falling into place. Then Dad overheard Emma on the phone, talking about selling the necklace. He was devastated. Finally, it was time for the big reveal. We called a family meeting, supposedly to clear the air. Emma walked in, looking smug. Before anyone could say a word, I stood up. Before we start, I said, there's something you all need to hear. I played the recordings, showed the financial records, and presented statements from people Emma had manipulated over the years. Her face went from confusion to anger, then to fear. You set me up, she screamed. No, Emma, I said, my voice steady. You did this to yourself. As the evidence mounted, her facade cracked completely. You think you're so perfect, don't you? Emma spat, her eyes blazing with fury. Little Miss Sarah, always doing everything right. You have no idea what it's like living in your shadow. I deserve that money, that house, everything. Her venomous rant left everyone in the room stunned. Mom sobbed quietly, Dad looked utterly broken, and Uncle Frank couldn't even bring himself to meet my eyes. Emma, hurling insults and threats, stormed out, slamming the door behind her. As the door shut, I felt an immense weight lift off my shoulders. The truth was finally out. Looking at my shattered family, I knew things would never be the same. But for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The mask Emma had worn for so long was off. And now we all had to face the harsh reality of who she really was. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of emotions, as if we were all waking up from a long, confusing dream. We're so sorry, Sarah, Dad said one evening, his voice thick with regret. We should have seen it sooner. Mom, her eyes filled with tears, nodded. We let Emma manipulate us for years. Can you ever forgive us? I appreciated their apology, but the wounds ran deep. I understand, I said softly. But I think we all need some space to process this. As for Emma, karma hit hard. The forged documents for Grandma's house were nullified, and the property was rightfully returned to me. Michael, ever the lawyer, was in full swing as he laid out the consequences to her. You're facing some serious charges. Fraud, forgery, theft. It's not looking good, Emma, he said. Emma's face was a twisted mix of anger and fear. This isn't fair. I was just trying to. Save it for the judge, I cut her off coldly. Uncle Frank, trying to save his own skin, had spilled everything about their shady dealings, and Emma's web of lies was unraveling fast. In the end, Emma was slapped with probation and hefty fines. She avoided jail, but her life was in shambles. She lost her job, her friends, everything. As for me, I decided it was time for a fresh start. I moved into Grandma's house, determined to honor her memory the right way. It's beautiful, Michael said as we unpacked boxes. He paused, looking around the cozy space. You know, this could be a great place to start our life together. I turned to him, surprised. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Without another word, he dropped to one knee, right there in the middle of the chaos. Sarah Thompson, will you marry me? Through happy tears, I said yes. Life started looking up after that. I got a promotion at work, throwing myself into new projects with renewed energy. Meanwhile, Emma's life became a cautionary tale. The last I heard, she was living in a tiny apartment, struggling to make ends meet. Part of me felt sad, but a bigger part of me knew she was finally facing the consequences of her own actions. The story has come to an end now, but I have a question for you. If you were in Sarah's shoes, would you ever forgive Emma and your parents for their betrayal? Or do you believe that some actions are truly unforgivable, even when it comes to family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and opinions matter, and they might help others dealing with similar situations. If you enjoyed this story of family drama and justice, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.